I really love to cut paper. I love to sit there for hours and hours and hours and just cut paper and be meditative. My name is Lauren Iida, and I'm a visual artist working on large-scale permanent public art installations, and I'm also the founder and director of Open Studio Cambodia, which is an artist collective based in Siem, working with emerging Cambodian artists. I called up an old friend. He was from Thailand, and he invited me to come meet his family, so I bought a ticket to Bangkok. And then protests in Bangkok shut down the airport, so I was rerouted to Cambodia. And so I came there completely by accident in December of 2008. And I'll never forget just completely falling in love with it right away. I can remember the smells and the sounds and cruising down the road on a motorbike, and all the people were extremely welcoming and funny, down to earth. Like, it was just a great experience. In 2008, I was intending to stay in Southeast Asia for 2 weeks, and then that turned into 2 years. This is, more than 12 years now. My father is Japanese, and our family on the Japanese side has been in America for more than 120 years. After the bombing of Pearl Harbor, 120,000 Americans of Japanese descent, including my grandmother and her parents and all of her siblings, were taken away from their homes and incarcerated in concentration camps around the US. My family was at Tule Lake in California. Memory and storytelling play really essential roles in all my work. Living back and forth between Cambodia and the States for a long time, and also learning about my own Japanese American family's heritage, have both been very fascinating and very rich points of inspiration for my artwork over the years. Mostly I work in cut paper. I cut by hand with a small scalpel, like an X-Acto knife. Sometimes I do very large-scale installations. They can be 30 feet or more in length, and I install them temporarily around the world. My most well-known large installation is called the Memory Net, which is like a cut paper net that has symbolic objects trapped inside of it. Silkworms and mulberry leaves, scissors, reading glasses, dice, plumeria flowers. The point of the memory net is that the physical object will be eventually destroyed because it's made of paper, and it's meant to die. It's meant to go back into the earth, so to speak. So in the sunken forest, we did a whole day of shooting with it, got some great shots, and then we set it free in the water. Now it really feels like home because I'm managing and running and living with many, many artists in a big villa. I work with 8 contemporary Cambodian artists in Siem Reap. We do exhibitions together. I mentor them, provide them with art-making materials. We're like family. We live and play together. We make art together. We travel together. We exhibit. And I found a really satisfying and really profound place for myself in Cambodia. Because Pol Pot's genocide of the 1970s completely decimated the art scene and executed something like 95% of the artists, and those who fled sometimes came back, but not very often. And so right now, everybody's making up this new art scene as they go. We have very few masters or few elder mentors in art. And so it leaves a really interesting ecosystem which is organically growing up, I think, from almost zero. Lavi Long, I actually met the first week I was ever in Cambodia in 2008. He is like a brother to me. He was a tuk-tuk driver for 20 years in Phnom Penh. So he's driving a little trailer around the back of his motorbike, taking passengers to tourism sites, basically. And in his free time, when he didn't have a customer, he'd be sitting in his tuk-tuk painting watercolor. Lavi's artwork has a very lonely, nostalgic, sort of foggy color palette that has a lot of emotion in it. It's a lot about longing to be close to his family physically because they're always far away when he was driving a tuk-tuk. There's a lot of empty landscapes without people and kind of sad. Yeah, but I like that about his work. Muanchia is 30 years old, and he's a block printing artist with Open Studio, and he is a double amputee. So he lost both of his arms to a horrific electrical shock accident on a construction site about 10 years ago when he was around 20 years old. His work often talks about his personal life story, the struggle of trying to overcome the stigma of disability, which is really extreme in Cambodia. You're not expected to be able to have a job, you're not expected to be able to get married or own land or really participate in society in any way. A lot of his work have really profound messages about believing in yourself, continuing to persevere and to try hard to do small things that take you step by step back to being able to take care of yourself and be successful and be happy and see yourself in a new way. My Seattle community has been so very, very supportive of what I'm doing with Open Studio Cambodia over the years. We've had a couple events at Art Exchange Gallery. We have had massive, massive donations of art supplies from our Amazon wish list, and other people cleaning out their studios. Definitely without the support of the Seattle community, we could not have been as successful as we are today, and we could not have given as many services as we do to the artists that I work with. My favorite thing about art generally is that it is such a powerful tool for social change, for inspiring people, for bringing up issues, for starting conversations, for creating community. I think when we use art as a tool for social change, it's extremely unique, extremely powerful, and extremely effective. When I try to think about what the future might be, I feel it's futile because I know that I have no idea what's going to happen. But I know that with the momentum that we have going, both for Open Studio Cambodia and for myself, I know we'll do something great. Yeah.
See more of Lauren's work and learn more about Open Studio Cambodia at laureneida.com.